Well, good afternoon, friends. Welcome to another episode of StoryTime by UnBreakable Enterprises. Gosh, it is so fun to get to hear from you, from our friends that are out there making a difference in the world, hearing your stories and really discovering with you potentially what your why is. Why do you do what you do? How did you get into the world of service that you're in right now? And what makes you tick. And today, I am so excited for my guest. We have a namesake, we have this similar name, but my friend Teresa is an amazing woman who I got to meet like 7 or 8 years ago. And through that facet of our connection, I've just seen her blossom and really discover who she is. And I think it's so wonderful because now she has made her life around helping other people, particularly women, discover who they are through their wardrobe and styling. And oh my gosh, I can't wait to bring her on the set. And so I want you to envision yourself in this space right now before I bring her on of what it feels like for you to be in your most confident self. What are you wearing? What are you feeling? How do you sit up or sit back? And what makes you the most confident and comfortable? So, I'm going to bring my friend Teresa on, and Styling with Teresa is the name of her business. I will tell you, she is one heck of a stylist. She looks fabulous, and everything she does is fabulous. But please help me meet my friend. Say hello, Teresa. Welcome.
Hello, thank you so much for that beautiful introduction.
Oh, you are so welcome. Thank you for shining and showing up as the amazing woman. I was going to say human, the amazing human that you are, and really helping other people do just that. And we're going to get into today, we're going to get into clothing, we're going to get into style, we're going to get into accessories. As you can see, Teresa has the most amazing accessories, looks so confident and well put together. But before we get there, I want you to tell the audience, tell our guests a little bit about what got you into this world. What caused you to want to empower people with the way they show up?
Yeah. So honestly, it was just a mixture of things. I've always been a creative person, still very much a creative person. I would say I mostly stepped into this line of work just as a passion project.
Mm.
After I had my first daughter almost 7 years ago, I felt like, I'm sure a lot of women can relate to this as they have kids, just that loss of identity
Yeah.
and self. So for me, I felt like personal styling or just figuring out my style, and then kind of just harnessing like who I am, who do I want to present to the world. That really helped me step into a vision for myself. And then I was like, I feel like other women need this too. Not just moms, but even though that's kind of where I was coming from as a mom and just
Mm.
trying to find myself again after having my first child. But even like when you're stepping into the next level of who you're trying to become, I
Right.
feel like there's a lot of things that go with that. And personal style is one of those things as well.
Mm. I love that. And I feel like, we were having this conversation a few moments ago about traditions. And I loved what you shared about, a tradition that your friend has when their child goes to a new age and they kiss them at night before bed and say, I love you and I love this version of you. And tomorrow you're waking up as a new version of you. And I love that. But how many times do we elevate to the next level? Like we are constantly becoming this amazing, beautiful, like evolution, this beautiful person that we were designed for. And how fun is it that you get to help people really say, okay, like that was the old version of me. And I loved her and I loved everything about her and how she got me to this place. But now I want to honor her in a different way
Mhm.
and show up in my
Yes.
full power
Mhm.
and my full energy and really show from the inside out and the outside in that congruency between who I see myself as and how the world sees me.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. So I like to say that I help women step into their true powerhouse
Mm.
through self-discovery, um, personal style, and confidence. Because I feel like there's kind of like those core pillars that you kind of have to
Right.
recognize and walk through, almost like you have your core pillars for the unbreakable life.
Mhm.
Um, there's just things that you really have to identify in order to like fully embrace that powerful you. We all have it in us. We
Mhm.
are all capable of being strong, powerful women. It's just the matter of allowing ourselves or giving ourselves the permission to fully step into that, and then using other things like style as a tool to fully step into that and fully embrace it.
Yeah, I love that. I love that your pillars are self-discovery, and that is actually the same as our first pillar with the Unbreakable Life is self-discovery. Because as you mentioned earlier, many times throughout our life, and when we go through our childhood years where we're just getting programming and programming
Mhm.
and programming, and then we go to our next level, which is our identity forming, where most of our identity is discovered in our adolescence. But then we are constantly evolving. And so maybe that core identity is there, but we've picked up
Mhm.
this hat, and we've become this person to where many times we're like, uh, who am I? Right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
there's a disconnect between potentially how I see myself, how maybe you see me, how
Mhm.
the rest of the world sees me, and how can I bring all that together and deliver a consistent message?
Exactly, yes. It's so funny you say that too, because I feel like now, especially in a world full of influencers, we just get flooded with things that people are recommending for us to wear, whether we truly, identify with that style or that piece that they're recommending or not. Like it's constantly coming at us. So it's almost one of those things where it's like, okay, is this truly who I am? Is this really my personal style? Does this reflect where I'm going, who I'm trying to become? Or is it just, I'm being bombarded with all these things
Mm,
that people are recommending, and I'm just like,
right.
okay, yeah, it's easy. There's the link. I can go buy it. It's right there. It's this much money, maybe not a lot of money,
Sure.
because a lot of the times it's a lot of fast fashion that they're promoting. But does it really speak to your personal style and who you're trying to present to the world? So I think, nowadays it's just really easy to have that copy and paste method of style. And so people just get consumed with just trying to, I guess, amplify that messaging when they're not really paying attention to who they are, what their personal style is, and who they are trying to present to the world.
Yeah. I'm thinking as you're saying that about my COVID years, right? Where really we saw an influx of online boutiques, and we
Mhm.
saw, everybody doing like those shows out of their living room or whatever. They're trying on different outfits, and you're like, oh my God, she looks super cute. Like, I totally
Mhm.
have to look like that, right? And so, yes, click here, add to cart, add to
Uh-huh,
cart, add to
uh-huh,
cart. And before you
uh-huh.
know it, you have like 30 plus pieces or more. Yeah, plus, right? My husband would be like, plus, right? 30, all these
Yes.
pieces that really there's no congruency. They don't complement one another.
Mhm.
Like I remember going through my closet in about 2023. I'm like, it's like a train wreck in here. Truly, though, it's still a little bit of a train wreck, and you've been in my closet. But let's talk about um, how does somebody begin the process of really figuring out what works for them? Because I mean, there's so many things you have to consider,
Mhm.
right? So many things. And I was watching something on a reel earlier today, and I was watching. It was it was people on stage, and there was no consistency on the stage, so there was no blending as far as how they kind of matched each other. Which, when you think of a team, a unified team kind of matches, right?
Mhm.
There was also, I felt like nobody that I saw out there really stepped into their power. I didn't feel like anybody that I saw on that stage was like, I'm owning me, 100% of me. Like, I'm owning how I'm presenting myself. And
Mhm.
and I think that becomes such a daunting task if you don't even know where to start. So can you talk to us a little bit about How do you get to that place? Because I know so many people have this heart and this vision, particularly people that I work with on StoryTime and people that are ready to share their story with the world.
Mhm.
And their story creates their style, which creates their messaging and all of those types of things. So, where could one start?
Yeah, that's actually a really great question. I think a lot of people do find it, they don't take the step to really fully think about their personal style because it does seem a bit daunting, but
Mm.
it doesn't have to be, and it could really be done like in three simple steps.
Okay.
So I would encourage somebody to really just start with self-discovery, like we mentioned. Style discovery is also something that I call it. And essentially just ask yourself questions. You could do this through self-guided journal prompts. So I like to encourage my clients to think about three areas of their life where we're kind of going to build their style around. So
Mm.
that's lifestyle, goals, and aspirations.
Okay.
So essentially, you want to think about, okay, where am I at now, and where am I trying to go? Who is the woman that I'm trying to become or that I'm stepping into? Who am I gonna be when I step into my full power? What is she wearing?
Mm.
When she's wearing, that outfit or whatever you're picturing her wearing, what does she feel like?
Sure.
How do you want to show up to the world? What is the story that you're telling the world through your clothing? There's a really famous quote. It's style is your way of like telling your story without having to say anything at all.
Mm.
So what does that mean to you? How do you want to tell your story through the clothes that you're wearing, the way you're presenting yourself? Because we've all been there when we've had that really great outfit on and we're just like, we sit up a little straighter, our heads a little higher, and we really just feel powerful and confident. And I feel like a lot of people underestimate the power that true style, personal style can have when it comes to their confidence level.
Yeah. 100%. I love that. And I love, self discovery is such a big thing and
Mhm.
it takes being intentional. And one of the things that is constantly at us is distraction, distraction, distraction. That's whether it's Facebook, social media, marketing tools that are out there
Mhm.
everywhere to steal your attention, to steal your focus. It also keeps you from looking inward and really asking yourself those questions. I love how you talked about journaling and self guided questions.
Yes.
One of the things I picked up along my journey was that questions are so important because what happens when we ask ourselves a question, or if you're in a room of people and you ask a question, those of you that are public speakers or want to be a public speaker, uh, asking questions is a way to capture the attendant or the attention of your audience because it allows them to turn everything else off, all the distractions, and they go straight to work at answering the question. And
Mhm.
so, for you to say, one of the most important things to do is to ask yourself these questions. Nobody else knows what your style should be but
But
you.
you, exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
nobody can see that future version of Teresa, but
Mhm.
Teresa, right?
That is correct. Yes. And then that's when I kind of, when we lean into the, like you mentioned, being intentional. Okay. So now let's think about your lifestyle.
Yes.
What makes sense for your wardrobe? I'm not going to be
Sure.
buying ball gowns if I'm not attending all these fancy
Galas,
events.
yeah.
Like, why does my wardrobe need that? Or if you're not in a state or in a place where you need to buy like a certain kind of wardrobe, then why are we going to waste money on that? Let's be intentional. What are you doing? So, like, I know for me, I personally look at, okay, so I'm a mom on the go. I got to pick up the kids, drop the kids off, and I'm also a full-time working mom. So what does my wardrobe need to consist of when I have to go into the office?
Mm.
Or also an entrepreneur. So what does my wardrobe need to consist of when I'm going to networking events
Mm.
and meeting with clients? So just really being intentional, like you said, about, okay, what am I bringing into my wardrobe that is going to make sense for me and for every point in my life and my lifestyle. I feel like a lot of times, like you mentioned, just adding to cart, that really trips us up because then we're just shopping
Mindlessly.
Yes,
Yes.
impulse buying, and we're not really thinking about the cohesiveness of our wardrobe and really how to make our pieces work together, because we're just buying things just to buy them. And then we get into our wardrobe and now we're stuck with, oh my gosh, I literally have nothing to wear, because you didn't intentionally think about the pieces that you're adding into your wardrobe and how to make them work with everything else within your wardrobe. So
That's a big deal. And I think about, back to just seeing what other people, influencers, and I think influencers do a great thing. I mean, and really, one of my favorite quotes is John Maxwell said, leadership is influence. Like literally, influencing is such a big thing. And the ability that they carry, that baton that they carry is huge, right? And I think we also have to be super intentional with lifestyle. Like I love seeing a pair of sneakers on somebody. I'm 4'10", I am not wearing sneakers unless I'm at the gym. And even that's questionable. I'm actually bringing heels to practice something. But, just because something looks so amazing on somebody else, I think we also have to look at, okay, what am I working with? All right. And I know we could totally go into a whole nother question, and I'm going to wait because there were 3 areas that you talked about. Number 1 was your personal style, self-discovery. Number 2 was lifestyle. And the third one?
Goals and aspirations.
Goals and aspirations. Yes. So let's talk about that for a minute. Because I think, we think about goal setting from a place of, where do I want to be next year? Where do I want to be in 6 months? Where do I want to be in 5 years? But nobody that I'm aware of has taught a class on goal setting, like looking that part. Like they'll help you visualize it. They'll help you put a vision, board on the wall and that kind of thing. But walk us through the power of stepping into your future self today and what that does to your psyche.
Yeah, I mean, it does a lot to your psyche. There was a study called, give me a second, it's like right there, but I can't quite drum up the name for it. But essentially, this study, sorry.
No, you're good.
I'm like, what was this? I literally just talked about it at my workshop, and I can't remember the name. Darn, that's gonna bug me.
That's okay. Okay. What did it find?
So essentially, it's kind of like, I don't know if you watch Grey's Anatomy or anything.
Okay.
But when they're in that surgery, they're in the surgery room and they're getting ready to do a big surgery. They tell them to get in their power pose. So
yes.
So essentially it's the same idea.
Right.
Enclothed cognition. There we go.
Okay. Say it again.
Enclothed cognition.
Enclothed cognition. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So essentially it's saying that when you put on a certain piece of clothing, it does create like a opportunity, or it has, there's crap. There's a connection between the way that you have a boost in confidence and the way that you present yourself. So they had like a group of people wearing lab coats, and then they found that their productivity was a lot higher than the group of people that weren't wearing lab coats.
Sure. They put themselves in business mode.
Exactly. They're presenting themselves as a doctor or scientist. So they felt that, oh, this one piece of clothing made me really step into that position, or that character, and it helped me kind of boost my confidence, and therefore their productivity output was a lot greater than the group that didn't have the lab coat on.
Sure. We think about, as we see, in our world, and those of us that have employees that work with us, you can totally see a different level of engagement, right? When you are put together, when you take some extra time and energy to show up, than when you're slacking in your slacks, or I don't say slacks
Yeah.
or slacking. I'm wearing slacks today,
Pajamas.
but yes, like your pajamas or your flip flops or
Mhm.
something that is so casual. I feel like it matches and mirrors, your clothing mirrors your mindset, right?
Yes.
And I love that concept. And we can see that from, even movies like Wonder Woman, like her confidence shifts. Superman, like his
Mhm.
confidence,
Mhm.
100, like Clark Kent, right? To Superman, you're like, whoa, Nelly, totally different person, right?
Yes.
And so I think that is such a beautiful thing for us to think about when we're creating a lifestyle that we desire, that we also create the clothing and the style that mirrors that, and we then become. Again, we're setting it out and we're becoming. It's like we're matching forward, right? We're putting it
Yes.
out there and we're matching to it
Mhm.
because our clothing is going to match the mindset, which is going to match the production and productivity. So I love that.
Yes, that is so true. I know for me personally, I even use like kind of this method when I was working at the current job that I work now. I'm on the fundraising side for a nonprofit. But before I stepped into this new role, I was the program administrative assistant, and I very much told myself like, "Oh, I want more. I don't want to just be in this role. Like, I need to be doing more. Like, I can do so much more. I have so much more to offer."
Mm.
And so I started showing up to work differently.
Excuse me.
I started showing up to work a lot differently, and I just, was very intentional about how I presented myself to the team and my boss. And it was like a few months had went by, and she actually came to me, and she was like, you're different. Like, I see your growth. Like, you've done a lot. She started asking me like what I had been doing outside of work. And I just shared her a few things like, oh yeah, I've been listening to some podcasts. I've been being really intentional about mindset, and just growth overall, specifically with professional development. And she was like, "Yeah, I can tell." And she was like, "And the way you've just been coming to work, presenting yourself, like
Mm.
something's different." And then it was like a few weeks after that they opened up a position for a donor engagement specialist. And I was like, "Oh, do I want to interview for this? Like, I don't know." But that's kind of like what I had been asking for, all
Sure.
those months ago. Like, oh, I want more. I need more. And so I took the plunge. I did it, got the interview, and I ended up getting a promotion. So it's just one of those things where, like, you really can use personal style as a tool to get you to your next level self.
Mm. I love that. And the proof of concept, right? You used it yourself and you
Mhm.
saw the great results associated
Yes.
with it.
Yes.
One of the things that I think, again, speaking around mindset, and I know mindset is right up your alley, it's a big piece of what you do. Um, One of the things that I've found with mindset, particularly with women, and I will say this, I know that we have men that watch the show, and we're speaking primarily to women, but you guys own your style too. Like, I know
Mhm.
so many men that are like, "Well, Teresa, how do you think I should dress? Like, what makes you feel the most confident?" Right?
Mhm.
And so, and what's going to put, so take these same principles. It's not unique to women. We may add extra necklaces and earrings and sparkly shoes, but the truth is take these same concepts and apply it
Yes.
as a man, because the same thing applies. You want to be unique to yourself. You want to have that lifestyle that you
Mhm.
desire and the future that you desire as well. So I just like to clear that up a little bit because I know we've got some men that are out there. But when I think about as we evolve and we take the next step into the next level, our mindset a lot of times is the front runner,
Mhm.
but sometimes it also maintains memory. Yeah.
Yes.
And so I remember just a few weeks ago, you helped me pick out an amazing, fun outfit for my last Unbreakable Women's Conference. And I will tell you guys, about 2 years ago, had been in the mindset, and one of the desires that I had about 2 years ago was to be more fun. I know. I'm a Mary Kay girl, like whatever. But the truth was, is I never felt like I was fun. I wasn't the fun friend. I was the one that, brought party in a box, but I was super serious when we're applying the party. Like, I was so structured and had everything set up a specific way and very type A personality. And a couple of years ago, I'm like, I want to have more fun. I want to be the fun friend, right? And so Teresa, you came over and you were like, I want to help you with your wardrobe. And of course, we found a couple of things. A lot of things need to be recycled and given away because I've lost a little bit of weight since I've, done a new wardrobe. But one of the other things when I'm particularly speaking about mindset is that memory. And from my past self, the self of being, 20, 30, 40, 60 pounds heavier than I am today, I always stayed away from specific clothing that accentuated assets that I didn't want to accentuate, right? And you picked out this hot outfit. And I was like, "Oh, girl, I can't wear that." And you were like, "Yeah, you can." And I was like, "No, I don't think I can." And in my mind, even though in the mirror it was different, in my mind, I was still seeing some limitations from a different version of me, right?
Yes.
And so it was a challenge for me. And here I am talking on stages, empowering women with self discovery and limiting beliefs and mindset and all the things. And here I am literally walking through a mindset limiting belief moment as you're going through my wardrobe, and you're like, Teresa, just put it on. So I'm going to let you talk for a minute.
Yeah, I think a lot of times that's just like that first, it's the hardest thing. It's like a lot of people will look at something on a hanger and be like, oh no, I can't wear that. It's because they've been conditioned to think like, oh, my body type this, or oh no, that's not going to look good on me. That color, that color, like whatever the case may be.
Right.
So I feel like a lot of times the hardest part is just getting yourself to actually try it on, because you don't know until you try it on. And then once you try it on, you're still having questions. Okay, well, let's think about how we can style this to make it to where you're comfortable in it. Because a lot of times that's also what it is. It's just like, it's just not styled the correct way. So that way, when you're wearing something, you're just like, no, still not feeling it. And then once you start putting all the pieces together, the styling, then you're like, oh, okay, I see it. It makes sense. Okay, yes, I like it. I get it. I can do this. So I feel like that's just really the hardest step, is just really, getting yourself to try on a piece that you normally wouldn't. And then just kind of going from there, because it's just one of those things where you just kind of have to slowly work at, because it's not going to happen overnight for everybody. But I think, if you give yourself the permission to at least try, then you can, you've already opened up the gate to a whole bunch more things that are possible. So
yeah. And I think that's the power of what you provide for people, because I would have never thought. Now, I understand, like, if I'm going to wear a tighter bottom, I need a looser top. Like, I can understand some of that. But I would have never thought to put those particular clothes together. And so having you kind of go through the closet and saying, yeah, that somebody that has an eye for fun, an eye for style, I think is beautiful. Now, I will say at that event, I felt confident and I felt fun. Like, and that was one of my goals from a couple of years ago. Like, just, because I had transitioned from the banker to the very, polished and professional Mary Kay into, suit, jacket, skirt, all of that, which is beautiful and wonderful. And it looks so amazing, but it's not where I'm at today, And so to be able to have a guide, which is what I would call you in this situation, a coach, a guide, a friend, a mentor, right? To be able to walk you through that, to have vision from a different lens, to help people really see what's possible, I think is huge. So you want to talk a little bit about kind of what that process looks like when somebody hires you or engages with you?
Sure. So yeah, it's very much like you mentioned, I am a guide. So I'm there to guide you through the process. I'm not there to like push anything on you. We'll work on it together. But my ultimate goal is just to see, like, if you're having those limiting beliefs, to get you to see something different,
Right.
open up your mind to something different. And that's all through clothing and just styling things certain ways. But essentially, we do the style discovery. So we're really honing in on your personal style. We're thinking about your lifestyle, your goals, your aspirations. And then once we, get to a good, solid foundation there by like just identifying your key style words, and then kind of getting a vision of what your future self looks like or is stepping into the world as, then we go into your closet evaluation.
Mhm.
So that's essentially, now it's time to go into this closet. Let's start identifying some of those patterns that maybe you don't see, when you're necessarily going out and you're shopping. Let's
Right.
get rid of these pieces that no longer serve who you are today. Like you mentioned in your wardrobe, that
Sure.
there's a lot of pieces in your closet that no longer fit you. So why are we holding on to these pieces? We
Yeah.
need to get rid of them.
Right.
I feel like a lot of the times we also feel like, we can't ever find anything to wear because we have so many things in our closet. And a lot of those things don't serve who we are at this moment in time. So that can
Mhm.
also be another reason why you're always constantly feeling like you have nothing to wear. After the closet evaluation, we then come up with we create your style board, essentially like a mood board. So now we're really thinking about, okay, what are we wearing? What kind of pieces are we bringing into the wardrobe? We're also identifying your wardrobe gaps. So, what do you have in your wardrobe now, and what do we need to bring in to like make it
Right.
a cohesive wardrobe, and you can mix and match your pieces. Because at the end of the day, I also like to focus on maximizing your wardrobe as well. So, how many different outfits can you get out of this one piece? Whether it's a blazer, a cute blouse of some sort, how can we style it in certain ways so that it works for your mom on the go, your when you're stepping into the office, when you have that networking event. Because I feel like a lot of the times people aren't really too savvy in like the styling department to where they can wear a certain piece and style it multiple different ways and get a whole different vibe, different feel.
Throughout the day.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
just really trying to teach, my clients that as well. Like, look, you can style this cute dress with a cute pair of sneakers, and it can be very casual.
Mhm.
Dress it up with heels, and now you have a completely different look. So when you're going into the office, this is what you can wear. Or when you're on, a laid back, fun weekend, throw on your sneakers with the dress.
Your kid wants to
So
go to the park. I mean, I think about
exactly.
that, right?
Hmm.
If I was wearing dresses and heels like all the time because it fit one piece of my life, but my kid wants to go for a bike ride or go to the park or something, you're like, I gotta change everything before I can do
Hmm.
that, right?
Yes. So just really trying to show my clients the ways that they can style certain items so they can get a completely different look, different feel, different vibe. And then the last part is, their digital closet. So essentially,
Mm.
I put together, like 20 to 30 looks that they can just easily flip to on the palm of their hand and
Wow.
the app that we use. So that way they can just refer to it like, oh, okay, yes, it's this event, this occasion. Here are my options. Now I can get up, grab what I need, and go.
How fun
So,
is that? I was just thinking of the movie Clueless.
oh,
And she
yeah.
had, like, all of those things, and,
Yes.
that was just a dream back then. Now it's a
Hmm.
reality. How
It
fun.
really is a reality. So yeah, just really making it easy for them, taking away some of that decision fatigue
Sure.
that so many of us were always wearing multiple hats. So how can I make your life more simple, through style, through personal style, and just helping you have ready to go looks, but also most importantly, helping you identify your personal style, so that way whatever you do, however you, step into that event, you're feeling like your most confident, powerful self.
So good. I think there's so many, different voices out there. Again, we talk about influencers and clothing, but then there's also all the voices that if you have this shape body, you can't wear this. If you've got this, you can't do that. If you've got green eyes, you can't wear, I don't know, this. If you have red hair. And I think, there's so many ways to overcomplicate things that, again, you talked about decision fatigue. Well, ladies, we only can make so many decisions a day. And if we spend the first 30 minutes of the day just trying to decide what we're going to wear, what powerful decisions are we saying I can't make today because of that, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, I know we talked about clothing a little bit and obviously, blazers and things like that, but what about accessories?
Oh, I feel like those accessories are literally like your time to really put some of your own personal identity, personality into the mix. Like that's really where your personal style can really shine, is just by adding simple accessories. So like for me, my go-to is always like glasses, fun fashion glasses, just because I feel like it really just kind of embodies my vibe. And it's also a really fun way to kind of tone down a look if I don't want to be like overly dressed. So, I mean, you can really have a lot of fun with your accessories, whether you're somebody that doesn't, that tends to stay away from color, but, you want to get some color in your wardrobe some way. Maybe you're adding in a fun pop of color through your handbag or your earrings or your necklace or maybe your rings. But accessories are really like, I feel like it's just like the topping or the cherry on top, where it's just like chef's kiss, like yes. Let your personality shine through your accessories for sure.
Yeah, I love that. And even I think about, now I know you don't necessarily deal with this, but you always look so good with your hair. Like I think about even that, right? That we want to create that cohesiveness between our clothing and our accessories, our hair, like, because, if our hair doesn't necessarily match our style, that can be one of those things. And, one of the things I'm super excited about, and Unbreakable Business, we are going to be having a speaker come, and his name is Scott Carley. And he does this program called the Trust Credit Score. And I'm like, ooh, that's so exciting. When we have lack of cohesiveness, when things don't speak the same language, when the way we present ourselves verbally, the way we present ourselves non-verbally, the way we show up on a stage, the way we show up in our body and our clothes, when those things don't match and there's not cohesiveness, people's ability to trust us can also be hindered, right? And I don't think that people think about that very often. We think, I'm just me. And just show up. Like I know for me, for many times, I'm like, I'm just a hot mess. I'm going to show up as a hot mess. And people, they literally, and our minds are created in such a way that our brain is trying to decide right from wrong, good from bad, trustworthy, not trustworthy, discernment, like all of these things are coming at us. And so even from a relationship space, from like your job situation that you talked about, when you presented yourself at a higher level, their trust came up to a higher level in your ability to perform. Are you the same human? Well, of course you are. But their perception is totally different, right?
That is correct. Yeah. That's why I like to say personal style is just your way to own your story and really take the narrative, and now it gives you the power to really focus on the story that you're telling the world. Like, what is your narrative? What are you showcasing to the world through how you're presenting yourself? A lot of people could also say, fake it till you make it type of thing. But I feel like when you really know your personal style and can really hone in on that, then you can just really just unleash. It's just like a way to unleash so much more power and the potential from within.
So good. Well, friends, this is story time, and you got to hear some amazing tips. Now, I do want to, as we close out, Teresa, please tell us how they can connect with you, because I know people are gonna be like, well, what's her number? How do I have more fun? Show up. How do I create that cohesive style? So, how can they reach you?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram at style with underscore Teresa. That's Teresa. That is my Instagram handle. So just at style with underscore Teresa. And then also email style with Teresa test at gmail.com. But if you have Instagram and you follow me there, then you can really get a hold of me through email, through my website, however. So,
Perfect.
yeah.
Perfect. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching us on today's episode of Story Time. And I just want to encourage you that you have a story to tell. As Teresa shared, you have power within you that is ready to come out, ready to be unleashed. And we want to help you get there. So, hope that you have an amazing day. I hope you got some great takeaways. And until next time, continue building your unbreakable life. See you soon.